Yo YouTube, what's going on? And welcome back to another video. We need to talk about DRX and especially their haven against FNATIC today because I'm just so confused. Like, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed, okay? I'm still wearing the jersey. I've not fallen out with them just quite yet, but this for me was just quite depressing to watch. If you aren't familiar of what I am discussing, ignore the picture of Sideshow, but this is how I felt watching this game. DRX come out swinging straight out of the gate and get a 10-2 half against FNATIC. Things looked incredible. They should have 2-0'd FNATIC, but for some reason this team just quivers on defense, and I think it happened. Of course, it happened against NRG, and now it's happened with FNATIC. And there's so many things that I want to talk about because this should just not be possible. And it's not the fact that they lost; it's how they lost. There isn't anything that fancy on the scoreboard. I mean, you know, there's not much you could. I don't really give a shit about stats, if I'm honest. It's more just how they lost. We'll look at round 15, okay? So this is the next half, DRX's first bye round. We've got pre-round, the 1 minute mark, and the 30-second finish. And I just want us to look at every single picture and just see if DRX spice anything up. If they just decide to go for a little gamble push. Did they decide to fight really early and force FNATIC to use a bit of util on re-clearing? You know, like anything. Because if I was to kind of summarise, which I will later into the presentation, but they just did nothing. The whole of defence, they have done absolutely niche. They let FNATIC go wherever they wanted to. They barely punished. They barely fought. And they are running double duelists. I'm lost for words. Watching this game I just felt dead inside because FNATIC, you have really strong executes, but they've also been the innovators of so many different strats. The most noticeable one will be the Vision Strikers or the DRX on Ascent, the Tiles Crunch, a nice defensive set play. You've got double duelists, you've got a great opportunity to do some crazy little set plays, some little fights early on into the round. But you don't even try. And I know there's going to be some like VCT Andys out there that are like, oh yeah, but DRX don't want to waste utility because FNATIC won't speed up and they're a really slow team, so they'll just be draining util and it'll be better for FNATIC. I couldn't give a single shit because if this is what you're going to do instead, don't even bother. I would rather, and I feel like maybe this is just me as a coach or an analyst or a player or whatever you want to call it, but they play it too safe. There's not a single point within the game where DRX go, nah, we're going to play our own game, and if it goes shit, at least we gave it a go. DRX just quiver, and it feels like whether it's the ideas, the game plans, whatever, they don't even try and just go, like, we're playing scared. This is feeling really boring, especially against FNATIC. Let's just try and do something. Something is better than nothing. So, as you can see, pre-round, FNATIC going to go for like a slow A default in a sense, just kind of pressure. FNATIC love to just run the clock down, and I can understand that from DRX's perspective, this is going to feel quite suffocating to play against because there isn't anything to really do. You're just waiting. You're waiting for FNATIC to give a little bit of insight into where they're going. But that's a great opportunity for you to take space. If you are aware, and every single person within VCT Champions, and even probably Tier 2, know that FNATIC are just going to run the clock down. So it's your opportunity to basically put utility in the right areas so that you can take space freely and maybe even flank, get a backstab. And I do feel like if I am DRX, I'd get rid of the Neon and put Flashback back onto Yoru, because it feels like none of the duelists want to kind of go into these main extremities. Just these pressure points that force out a Sova drone early, maybe even a recon, a flash, a clone. Just that make FNATIC a little bit wary, and I think that's something that maybe the Yoru compositions on Haven have almost normalized. That, right, okay, we've wasted about a minute kind of just defaulting and poking and prodding. We need to now clear these kind of areas, even here and here, just general pressure points within the map with a Sova drone. But DRX just never want to kind of put their bodies on the line. My ideology with duelists is I want you to go fight, and the Sova, the Omen, the Cypher will clutch up the round. But the duelist's role isn't to be a sentinel turret like a camera trip. It is to take space, get in their faces, pull out a bit of util. But for some reason, my Waylay and Neon are playing like a Killjoy turret, and I have no idea why. Even for the duelists, this isn't fun. I am supposed to be shooting, supposed to be fragging, supposed to be kind of taking space and getting into their faces. And for some reason, I've done nothing. This is, look, pre-round, so literally before the barrier has dropped, to 30 seconds finish. What has changed? Nothing. We are all still in a straight, near enough line. We haven't got freeing inserted up into Cubby for him to potentially flank fast. I want you to keep an eye on the Alphier Sentinel utility. Granted, it's a bit of hindsight because I can see everything. But DRX would have figured this out if they decided to push. And do you know what? I feel like I've noticed this in a lot of games in Champions, is nobody really wants to take a risk. And I can understand that, but you have to limit test. You have to limit test and see what you can get away with. And for some reason, especially with a lot of Vice compositions on Corrode and just certain comps, nobody really wants to kind of go searching. And it's really disappointing to see, and it feels like DRX really kind of lost this match due to this. So that was round 15. That's DRX's first buy round. FNATIC's bonus. FNATIC, of course, bonus them. This was mainly just down to freeing and Hyunmin kind of maybe being a bit too eager and a bit keen, a bit greedy, a bit too overconfident. But regardless, we'll go on to the next buy round, or just the next eco, let's say. An eco. A perfect opportunity to go searching, to take some risks, get some information for Mako, for the coaching staff, to understand how FNATIC are approaching this T-side. We've still got the basic Cypher Cam, even though we could probably put one down long, considering it's probably not going to get disrespected. Same again. Look at the pictures. Not a single player is defaulting over towards C for FNATIC. So this is a great opportunity for DRX to maybe go exploring. Is there an alarm bot? Is there a turret? Can I potentially get a pick? Okay, I could. I'll save that for my buy round. Perfect. We've got near enough the same utility. At this point, DRX do kind of go for a soft A take, but to me, it's a super weak A take. We don't have an Omen smoke. We don't have Mako holding the paranoia. Neon very rarely uses the stun. It's not a full fight. It's almost just all right, let's poke and prod to see what we can get away with. Same again. Just super disappointing. And I'm pretty sure that this was the round that DRX almost thrifted them. So, hey-ho, confidence is still there. At this point, DRX do call a timeout. So you would expect Termi, maybe Glow to kind of come up with an idea, maybe do you know what, guys, we just need to be a bit more confident, be a little bit cheeky, be a bit greedy. Flashback, Hyunmin, you've got an incredible kind of duo synergy with the duelists. Maybe try and cause some chaos. Get Flashback on and off. Do something, please. But no, we have a Flashback holding an op, doing the exact same thing as a Cypher Cam, even though they haven't pressured C once. Okay, 30 seconds goes by. Flashback is in the exact same position. Hyunmin is still holding B, and we still have no pressure over towards A main. So FNATIC can do exactly what they want to do. And the thing with FNATIC, which is quite funny, but also really painful to watch, is these teams do not gamble against FNATIC. So when it's like a minute left, more like the 30-second mark, I would say, the rotations are only now just coming in because most teams and players are expecting FNATIC to have a lurk or to rotate extremely late. But I just feel like you've got to throw that kind of preconception out of the window and gamble stack until it starts to hurt you. Because I'm telling you, if this is Paper X, if this is, I don't know, a Talon, they had a really good kind of game plan against Paper X, I'm pretty sure. Was it Paper X or was it like Genji or RRQ? They just gambled stacked and they went, let's just gamble and retake. Of course, you don't really want to gamble against this Viper composition because as soon as the orb goes down, blah, 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 blah. Regardless, this is boring. It's boring to play. It's boring to watch. And you aren't doing anything. I would rather you just try and mix things up, do a little bit of a set play, do a little bit of a mid crunch, of an A fight, something, boys, please, because nothing is changing. Every single round, right? Let's just look at this video real quick. Because from this point, Boaster says this. Boaster says, I know everything they're doing. Do you know why? Because DRX aren't doing shit. They are just sitting back and doing nothing. And it's so painful to watch. Same again. Freeing has got the same single Cypher cam over towards C long. Why aren't we trying to be a little bit cheeky and put it down the bottom of C long so that Hyunmin or Flashback can maybe push up off it? We're not doing an A take. We're still just holding around middle every single time. And bear in mind, look at all of the screenshots. When it's 30 seconds left, do we have a flank? No. 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 Every single time. We aren't flanking. We aren't pushing. We are just sitting back and watching and waiting. I cannot scream and shout it anymore. I'd be down to do an analysis video, but to me, I've literally done this maybe, 30, 45 minutes after the game is finished, because I don't know, I just wanted to get my thoughts and feelings out there raw, but it's just insane to me. Like, we have a double duelist comp. You kind of want to fight, you want to be a little bit aggressive, you want to get in FNATIC's face. If you do a heavy A take, then FNATIC are going to have to respond with a dart or a drone, a couple flashes, a clone, something. You have to take space. I would argue that because Giant X played against Sentinels really well with a Viper composition, and it's by taking space, it's not sitting back. But that's what DRX are doing. They are just sitting back and doing nothing. Like, it's so boring to do. So tilted. Summary of DRX defense on Haven. You don't take risks, you don't take A main control and force FNATIC to rotate and waste utility, don't let your duelists take fights and make them play as a Killjoy turret, and don't push C down C long and take space. Every single picture. Trip, cam, nothing. They default over towards C for the first time in T side. Ended up getting C splitted on. Imagine if we had that cam. Imagine if we had that cam to maybe give us a little bit more insight. Regardless, no flanks. Flashbacks holding with an op for about 1:30. Pointless. This is what DRX could have done. They could have done this A take. I can understand someone maybe having a different perspective or a different point of view and going, oh, but if DRX do this, then they've lost their Roman Flash, they've lost their Neon Stuns, they've lost a lot of utility, and that's exactly what FNATIC want to do. I don't care. Change it up. Because if you mix it up and you force FNATIC to have to think, okay, they've taken A, we don't know how many numbers, there was an Omen Flash, there was a stun, there was a dart, whatever. How do we now want to react? And whilst you're doing this A take, guess what? Hyunmin and Freeing are able to take C long. Cam, Hyunmin can take down C long, maybe pressure, get a backstep onto Boaster. Look at Alfier's Killjoy turret and an alarm bot every single round. Alarm bot for window, turret for middle. Let's look again. Alarm bot for window, turret for mid. Okay, cool. Let's look at another one. Alarm bot, there will be a turret for middle. Yeah. Alarm bot. DRX timeout, turret, alarm bot, turret, alarm bot, alarm bot. He's going to place the turret when the barrier goes down. Alarm bot, turret, alarm bot, turret. Okay, cool. Imagine if we took a risk on a pistol and got that information, delivered it to Mako or the coaching staff, and then they can go, okay, let's do a... Hang on, before I get to that. Let's do a mid take. Let's do something like this to completely deny all of Killjoy's utility, and then start flanking. Be a little proactive. Change up the game slightly. Make FNATIC think. Make us have a little bit more fun. Get a bit more confidence in, instead of sitting like an alarm bot. So, this is, in my opinion, what I would have liked to see DRX do on the defense. I'm not saying it would have won on the game. I'm not saying it was the correct call, but it's something different. You either do something or you do nothing. And to me, this something is better than my duelists sit in window and B front garage. That's my opinion. Lack of energy. In the post-match interview, I think it was Jen Lee interviewing Termy, he said, we've had a lack of energy. In that map, we started having a lack of energy, a lack of belief, a lack of confidence, however you want to call it. And this brings me to my point. Bane, he's not a motivational speaker. He isn't really a leader. In my opinion, I don't even think DRX have a leader, because when I'm listening to the comms, when I'm listening to the players speak, when I'm looking at the cams, there isn't a Zelsis, there isn't a Boaster. Who else? There isn't, I don't know, you could even say like a Buzz or a Stax or a Meteor definitely. There isn't a Valen. There isn't someone that pulls the team together and goes, let's lock in, boys. We can fucking do this. Let's wake up. Let's do something different. There isn't a proactive thinker. Mako is quiet and just calls strats, which I think is fair and fine. He can't change his personality for the sake of the team. That's quite hard. And Termy, he's as quiet as a mouse. He's very smart and he's very good at what he does. But to me, he doesn't exactly fill me with confidence or belief. Like, even if I was debating going the shop and I needed a bit of an umph from someone, you know, who would I want to go to? I'd want Meteor, you know. Meteor's going to say, get your ass out of bed and go to that shop. Termy's going to be like, okay, you should get up, you should go to the shop because you can get groceries and you can get food. I go, all right, well, that's not exactly making me want to get out of bed, you know? So, Bane is fun. He's fun to have on the team. He gives the team a little bit of happiness, a bit of enjoyment. But when things get tough, and I mean losing a 10-2 half tough, Bane isn't exactly going to fill me with hope, with spirit. They don't have that mean and motivational energy. That person that just goes, yo, boys, we're playing like idiots right now and we need to wake up and lock in because otherwise we're going to lose. Let's not lose looking like scaredy cats. Let's lose with a fight. And to me, this is a big DRX roster problem. Like going into next year, because they're going to have a very, very hard time against G2. And to be honest, I don't believe after what I saw today, they have a chance. They need to look at this situation, whether it's a coach to someone that Termy can kind of just press the timeout and go, yo, you just need to give these guys a bit of an oomph. And whether that's a coach or whether it's a player, someone that can just revitalize the team and go, yo, you're playing like shit right now. Let's wake up. We've got this. We're all good players. So yeah, I'll move on from that point. And then, like I said, they could have done a mid fight. They could have done a C-long crunch, a C-long fight. They could have just anything. Just stop letting the Viper default over towards A and you're kind of feeling all claustrophobic and just scared, I guess. And then I think this picture summarizes everything quite nicely. Anything versus nothing. Anything. If it's a mid fight and you get shit on, I don't care. If it's a C-long fight and you get shit on, I don't care. After those 3 or 4 rounds, someone needs to speak their mind and go, yo, this is useless. Like, FNATIC are just doing whatever they want. We don't feel in control. We have to do something. Anything. Just not nothing. Because, as I said, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? There is no clear direction. There isn't a clear idea where someone just goes, screw the game plan, let's just try do this. And to me, that's a big issue for DRX. So my little rant is over. I have been talking for a solid 19 minutes. I still love the team, but and don't get me wrong, they have done something already incredible. They've defied expectations, but to me, I would have liked to have seen them fighting for this championship, and they had a great opportunity beating FNATIC, and they choked. So that's my little rant. I still love the players, I still love the coaches, but it was a big glaring issue that just really, really frustrated me. And you know what? I'm sure I could do another video in the next coming days where another team doesn't want to push or doesn't want to be proactive and try and just do something, because I saw it a lot. I've seen it quite a lot. So that's today's video, YouTube. DRX fighting. But yeah, if you like the video, like, subscribe. If you think I'm stupid, let me know. I'd love to have a chat. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.